Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz. There were two questions that was asked of me recently. The first question was, can we escape the Matrix? It's a very simple answer. No, you cannot. You cannot escape the Matrix. You cannot escape it because the Matrix is not just the Matrix. There are matrices on top of matrices. It is the law of correspondence. So after giving that answer, the next question was, well, how do I navigate the different matrices? How do I navigate from one to the next to the next to the next? How do I get away or out of the one I'm currently in and into the next? And that's what we're going to start discussing today. There will be many videos about this subject, but we will start today. But before I get started, here's a word from some of my companies. I'd like to take a moment to thank all our sponsors. For everyone on Patreon who supports this channel through your monthly donations, you are greatly appreciated. And I look forward to providing you free content as well as exclusive live video chats. You will also be able to receive discounts on products from Uncle Renz Popcorn as well as coaching from Coach Renz. This video is also sponsored by Uncle Renz Popcorn, where you can get 25 flavors of delicious gourmet popcorn, from salt and vinegar to strawberry cheesecake, from caramel and cheddar to bacon jalapeno, and many others like cookies and cream. I greatly appreciate everyone who supports us at Uncle Renz Popcorn. This channel is also supported by Coach Renz, where you can not only get all your life coaching, your relationship coaching, but also get your business coaching from Coach Renz, as we teach you how to move your hobbies into a business, not a job for yourself, but a business. We also teach you life principles of leadership and meditation. So go to CoachRenz.com and support the sponsors of this channel. So I appreciate everybody. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're finding me for the first time, hit the subscribe button right there. And, join the team. Get the alchemical mindset from Coach Renz. And we will continue on your journey of getting from one matrix to the next matrix to the next. Now, let us break this down. Many of you already understand the concept of the matrix. The matrix that we're in is based, a lot of you of today, you see it as the viewpoint from the movie, The Matrix, or the book that was written concerning the movie that came out in 1999, and it's amazing. It's 20-year anniversary. Just thought about that. So many people have it from that perspective. Other people have read different other novels or studied other philosophies of older people who had the same idea. Now, at some point, maybe this video will infer about Plato's idea of the matrix, how it's something that has already been known throughout time and space and history of man. We've always known this, that there is a matrix. The Gnostic viewpoint is that a demiurge, an evil god, created this existence that we're in right now and has blinded everyone so that you cannot see, and the veil has been covered over your eyes, that you can't see the current falsity of what's around you, and that there's a higher understanding, a higher reality beyond this one, a true reality where the God, the good God, exists. This is also framed in the idea of polarity, that the pole to the left is the negative God and the pole to the right is the positive God. The left is the false reality, the false creation, while the pole to the right is the true creation. This one born on hate, this one born on love, this one born on evil, this one born on good. And then there are many different levels in between. Matrices. We exist even on this plane of existence in matrices. And when I say this plane of existence, let's break that down just short. The law of correspondence. The law of correspondence says that there are, as above, so below is the axiom. There are levels above, there are levels below. There are levels above where you are now in your consciousness, and there are levels below. What it also discusses is the fact that in your consciousness right now, in this earth, material matter plane of existence, there is consciousness that has different levels. There's the consciousness of a plant, the consciousness of an animal, the consciousness of the human, the consciousness of the mineral. So there's the mineral mind, the plant mind, the animal mind, the human mind. So all of those exist on this third degree, third level physical reality that we live in right now. We can see that if you think about a dog that you have as a pet, its entire framework of its existence is based on it being a pet. How its pet owners take care of it, treat it, the world that it lives in. If it lives only in your home, then its world is your home, and every sound or light that it sees in and around your home. It may venture off to the vet, that's part of its world. It may go to a park, that's part of its world. But the dog has no conception of Georgia, Alabama, New York, Texas, Russia, South Africa, Nigeria, China. It has no conscious thought of that. It has no idea. When it sees the beach, it has no idea of the expanse of the beach or what the water is and how it flows. It has natural instincts of everything, but that's all it has. That's its entire existence. But you, when you step onto the beach, you know that you're either at the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, the Indian Ocean. You know that what ocean you're at, its expanse, its connection to another ocean. You understand a fuller concept of the world, whereas the dog does not. The dog has no idea of that. The lion and we look at the lion and the water buffalo. The lions hunt the water buffalo, and when the water buffalo gets away, some of you humans, you cheer, but you're not conceptualizing that the lion is just trying to eat and take care of his family, and the water buffalo is just trying to eat and take care of his family. It's just going through the law of nature. So there is an animal mind at play. There's a plant mind. We know that plants can feel energy. They can feel emotion that we give off to it. We've seen, there's experiments that show that when a person who burned the leaf of a plant and what the response was to the plant when it felt the burn, and then when that person came and just thought about burning the plant had the same response that it had when the person physically did it. So plants have there's a mental condition that's with plant mind, and so on and so forth. With mineral mind, with the atom and the electron, the protons, the neutrons, and so on and so forth. And we also understand the human mind, the human consciousness. But in this human consciousness, there are still matrices that play upon matrices. We have the matrix of economics in this world. We have the matrix of power in this world. We have the matrix of religion. We have the matrix of nationality in schools. We have the matrix of race. We have the matrix of gender. We have all these different matrices that play a part of who we are and how we exist in this world. And in those matrices, the question was, how do we navigate through those before we can even, how do we navigate through those? And I explained that we must navigate through those first before we can get to a higher consciousness, before we get to the next plane of existence. Now, in every religion, there is the teaching, that is taught that there is this reality now, and then if you live a certain way, act a certain way, believe a certain thing, then you will exist on the next level of existence. You go to God, or you go to Samadhi, or you go to heaven, whatever heaven is based on that religion. So each one of these religions teach that there's a higher level of consciousness beyond this current level of existence, this current level of consciousness. And when you go there, you're with God, or you're in paradise, or something like that. The Buddhist teaching is that you reincarnate until you satisfy your dharma, and then you go and you exist in the presence of the all, in the presence of universal energy, and you become part of that universal energy, God, heaven, and then everything is good because you've reached that level of enlightenment. In the Hindu, this existence is the Maya. It's the false. It's a reality, but it's not so much as a false reality, but it is a substantial reality that you exist in now. But once you reach a certain level of enlightenment, of understanding the mind of Krishna, then you become one with the Brahman. And the Brahman is source energy. There's a way, if you want to explain in Western terms, it's source energy. It is not a God, a heaven, but it is source energy. It is the creative source of everything. It is the intelligent designing mind of everything. Heaven, God. So they teach that in Christianity and Islam, and in Judaism, the Abrahamic religions, they all have their different pathway, but the pathways all lead to, if you do believe a certain way, then you reach the heaven. You get to be with God. You get to be in the presence of God. All right, you go straight from here to there. Now in the Hermetics, the teaching is that there are different levels of consciousness in between you and the infinite intelligence, between you and the all. That the all exists on a plane where we do not exist. That we are all a thought of the all. That the only way that the all can create, and that makes any logical sense, and any emotional sense, any reasonable sense, is that the all creates by thought. So we exist as a thought in the mind of the all. In that thinking, there are many different levels of consciousness and dimensional planes within the thought of the all. Now, here's the thing that many will rebel against. They say you become part of Source, you become part of the Brahman, you become one with God, you become conscious in the presence of God. You see, the mind of the all exists outside of the thought of the all, meaning the presence of the all is outside of the thought. The all cannot have created all of this out of itself, because if it did, then at no point can my glasses, if it was part of the all, part of, not a reflection of, not a thought of, but part of, if it was the all, and the all took a piece of itself and made these glasses, then these glasses would know that it is the all, because the all can never not know itself. I want you to think about that. Anytime somebody runs around saying that I am God, I am God, I am God, or this is God, or that person was God, God can never diminish itself, separate itself from itself. Otherwise, it would always know itself. There are teachings that says that God emptied himself into the vessel of different messiahs throughout time and space, whether it's Dionysus, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Atticus, whether it's the Buddha or Krishna, that God emptied himself, forgot who he was, right? So that he could be that person, that man on earth. And I have to say no. Because the all can never empty itself from itself. The all can never not know itself to not be itself. At any point that the all can say that I am not the all and forget that it is the all, then it is not the all. It is an impossibility for the all not to know. That just doesn't work. It can't. The all could never not be the all. So we are created in the image of, as a reflection of, and all the Messiah types that have come before are reference points to getting to that enlightenment of the next level, of opening your mind to a point where it's beyond the matrixy that we exist in today, because this is a matrix that is controlled by man. And in order for you to navigate through this matrix that is controlled by man, we must first come to certain realizations. Now, here's the thing that I loved about the movies The Matrix, is that they show that every time Neo went from one level of conscious existence to the next conscious level of existence, it was physically arresting to his body. When he first joined the Matrix, he died. The silver stuff went inside of him, and he was like, he's on the cardiac arrest. He died, and he had to die from that matrix in order to be reborn into the new matrix. And yes, existing in Zion with Morpheus and Trinity and all them, he was yet in another matrix, as it was shown in Matrix Reloaded. He was still in another matrix. Zion exists as a place for that 1% who rejected the matrix to be able to go and fight against the machine, to rebel and rage against the machine. So it was still a matrix within the matrix for the 1% who did not accept it. This is what the architect talked about, how the 1%. And the purpose of Neo was to reintegrate the one code back into the matrix, take 23 people and start and build Zion again. People don't realize the architect is the one who first taught them about the one, and then the prophecies and all that kind of stuff. The architect created the oracle to solve the issue of this 1%, and Zion was his creation. But then the oracle, tricking everything around, wanted peace, was tired of the war. The machines began to have emotions, so the oracle wanted to end the war, which is why that movie showed Neo as the one who made a different choice, didn't become part of the code, but then chose love, and then love caused Neo to find peace, true peace between the machines and man. But they all still in the matrix, so it really didn't matter. It's just that within the matrix, man wouldn't be constantly fighting war. That's the deal. Yeah, if you look at it, they took the red pill and they lived base life, base level lives. They lived in the core, near the core of the earth. They had their little goopy stuff. They had base level accommodations, base level life. Their life was foundation level. They weren't raised in their chakra. That's why the pill was red. But anyway, sidebar. How do we navigate through this? Well, first we have to go through the arresting of the mind into realizing that one, we are all in a matrix that is not so much this matrix of a demiurge or a demon or the devil or anything like that, but we are all the mental thought of the creator, of an infinite intelligent mind, of the all. Now, once you realize that, then your existence still has purpose. And this is one of the arresting things for people, is that they feel like, what is my purpose? If I don't have my version of God, the creator, if I don't have my version, then what is my purpose? Then what am I living for? And if going to heaven is not my purpose, then what am I living? I'm not taking that away from you. It's not being taken away from you. The existential teachings of people like Nietzsche teaches that we are all endeavoring to become, we all should be endeavoring to become the Uberman, the overman, becoming the one that has become enlightened and can create its life around us by the act of freedom of choice. You see, when most of us is born, we're not given a freedom of choice as to how we believe, what we believe. We're mandated and told and taught and trained up by people who was done the same to them. And at some point, most people have been either trained that way through their family, or they've been, or some member of their family went through some level of hardship, oppression, and they converted over to a way of belief. Most of us are born into cultures. We're born into nationalities. We didn't have a choice in it. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose whom we were born to. Hell, you didn't choose to be male or female. It's just what was given to you. So most of us didn't do that. So to come to a change is an arresting thing. It caused a volatile response. When Neo stopped the machine in what the so-called real world was, what happened? His body convulsed and he went into a comatose state. His body was arrested again. It was like, it was crazy. You know, he literally had to almost die again and then be reborn again and realize that he had to go to Machine City in order to actually save Zion, so that Zion wasn't destroyed and rebuilt again. And then the cycle continues. Because not only the characters of the Merovingian and all the ghosts and all the other different, the family, the machine family, the computer family at the train station, they were all exhibiting different traits. They were all tired of the war. They all wanted something different. They were becoming more, the AI was becoming more human. So the whole discussion about how, you know, and the train station, the one program starts talking about love and love of his daughter and family and all that kind of stuff. And Neo was like, how can a machine know love? You know, it was that whole deal. And why does this, and this is happening because they're all getting tired of the same cyclic thing happening over and over again. So we are all going through the same cyclic thing that's happened over and over again. We call them generational curses. We call them, conscious ebbs and flows, the different cycles, the ages of the great year and the ages of the great year, the Mayan calendar rebooted back to the first Baktun. All these things we look at and we say there are cycles, but in order to break a cycle, we have to go through an arresting situation. So Neo had to go through an arresting situation. So the first thing, in order to navigate from one to the other, is that you're going to have to go through an arresting situation. Look, something as simple as you want to change the matrix of your finances. Right now, you're in the matrix of most people where you're living paycheck to paycheck, and every time you get a raise, you have a tendency to spend right up to the amount of money that you're making. You may have a little in savings. You go do a little bit more, a better house than the other person, all these sorts of things. But at the end of the day, you're living a life that's just over broke like most people are. And in order to break that matrix, you have to first stop spending most of your money. You have to save 10% of what you earn just to put into investments, and then you have to invest it. Do you realize that most people on the planet are not truly investing their money in something that's going to give them a return on their investment? it might, I said ain't no return on investment, but the return is so minimum that it doesn't keep up with inflation. So therefore, it's not a return on your investment. You're actually losing. When you invest in a 401k and then it only grows at a pace that once you retire, that you pull so much money from it because you're trying to keep up with inflation and keep up with the lifestyle, that you lose money. Your money is dwindling every year. Your money gets less every year. Then you're not getting a return on your investment. A return on your investment should be identified as it's constantly flowing and giving you more and more and more money than you can actually spend, that you have a river of gold flowing to you. But in order for a person to get that, you would have to arrest yourself to the point where you're willing to take a 20-year journey in order to build something that gives you that. Are you? Can you? Can you? In your spirituality and in your love for people, can you look at a person and say that even though I disagree with you how God is my framework of the Creator, I disagree with you, but I know that the tenet of my God is love, and love thy neighbor. So I'm going to love you as much as I love somebody who believes the exact same way I do. I'm not going to look at you differently. I'm not going to treat you differently. I'm not going to cast you off into hell, because who am I to judge, lest ye I be judged? Because by the same measure of judgment you judge is the same measure that they can judge. So the Christian who judges the Muslim and say the Muslim is going to hell, you're being judged by the Muslim who looked at the Christian and says that the Christian is going to hell. You're all going to hell. You just going to Muslim hell and they going to Christian hell. So everybody's going to hell. And ain't nobody going to heaven. Because both of you are breaking your own rules, your own thought process. So to get into a mindset where you say that I don't know. I used to ask different imams and priests all the time, like, have you ever just said you don't know? I mean, when it really comes to heaven or hell, I know your belief is strong, and I'm not trying to convince you differently of your belief. Have your belief. That's fine. Your belief, you have a right to your belief. But have you ever just said, I don't know? Because no one, you have a book that says it, that says that it was authorized by people who were inspired by Allah. It was inspired by Allah. They were inspired by Yahweh. You were inspired by Buddha, the Karma. You were inspired. But I can write a book and say I was inspired. I can have an emotional experience. I can have a spiritual experience. And then from that experience, I can have an amazing dream, which I do have amazing dreams. I can have all those things and then come back and say, I was inspired to write this or to make this video. And I was inspired by God, and this is God's word. Inspired, but not dictated. There's a difference between inspiration and dictation. Dictation, God said, thou shalt not keep other humans as property. There shall be no slaves. That's dictation. Not, you may have slaves of foreign lands and pass them along to your young kid, to your children. That's inspiration based on the culture that I live in. That's not dictation. Dictation said, thou shalt not kill. Inspiration said, but if God tells the leaders that you're up under to go to war, then you should go to war and kill those people who did nothing to you. You have nothing against that guy over there. But if your leadership says go kill them, then God, I put those leaders into place. Those leaders are in place by God. And God inspired me to write that because I'm one of those leaders. And God inspired me to write to you to say that the leaders are in place by God. And I was inspired. That's inspiration. Dictation, totally different. So, to understand this matrix and to navigate through it, you have to start thinking differently. You cannot think the same way that you think now in the current matrix you're in and expect to move to the next matrix. You cannot feel the way you feel now and expect to move to the next matrix. You see, in the movie, Neo was able to change the routine of the one. See, he was the sixth iteration of the one. He changed it because he had love. The other ones, well, let me rephrase, let me put it in context actually. He had love of Trinity, this woman. He had personal love, emotional, heartfelt love for one person identified as his true love. Whereas the other 5 iterations of the one had a love for the people in general, just the people. This is your Messiah idea of loving the people. So that's what Neo had the second one. I mean, all the first 5, the love of the people. So when you just love the people, yeah, you can make some changes, but it's the love of the one, that one person who embodies. See, her name was Trinity for a purpose, because she not, and most people would think the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. No. Trinity, if you look at her, Trinity represented masculine energy, feminine energy, but also the emotion of love. That's the Trinity that she represents. She could kick butt. She was very hard-nosed. She was a second lieutenant. She had all the instructional things. She had the ability to get things done. She had that instructional idea of the law of gender, masculine energy. But she was also all woman. She was feminine. She had love. She had softness. She had nurturing. She had the ability to put all things together. She vibrated at a high rate around the male energy. She had the feminine energy as well. And then she had love. That's why she was told that she will fall in love with a man, and that man will be the one. Well, she would fall in love with a dead man, and that dead man would be the one. But he could not. So Neo had to be the one. So Trinity, masculine, feminine energy, which is needed to birth anything, and she had love. That love transferred to the one, and that one bucked the system and moved to the next level of consciousness. This is why at the end of I think it's the second or the third one, the end of the third one, when the architect tells the oracle that she played a dangerous game in trying to create peace instead of keeping the status quo. You see, in order to change your matrices, you have to play a dangerous game. You have to change the way you think and feel about everything. You have to question what is right in front of you. And before I end this video, I'm going to tell you a short little story. Very, very short. Two fish swimming along. Swimming. The one fish looks over at the other fish. He says, "How's the water?" They keep swimming. Then after a little while, the other fish been looking at this guy, and he stops. He says, "What the hell is water?" You see, in order to break free from the matrix, you have to question what is right in front of your face. You have to question the current situation, the current way things are going on, the current way you do things, the current way you exist. You see, there are people I talked about in my Orlando Jones video. They took the green pill. The green pill were those who believe that they have the right, the power to control the ideas of those who took the blue pill. These are the ones who become your government policy makers. These are the ones who become your teachers. These are the ones who become your entertainers and your actors. These are the ones who become your influencers. These are the ones who believe that they have the right to decide how you eat and what you eat. They are the companies that decided the food pyramid, which is so jacked up. The food pyramid is should be flipped upside down. These are the ones who decided all these things, and in deciding all these things, these are the controllers. They become part of the controlling mechanism. They believe that the blue pill people need to be controlled because they're just sheep, and the best thing for them is known by me, a green pill taker. So we have those people. Now we have people who think that, oh, you know what, I can control the people. I need to keep the people under control. I'll keep them through religion. I will keep them through religion. If I keep them, locked into this religion and tell them that greatness is there, that it's coming, that God is bringing it to you, that you can do your 5 prayers a day. And Allah is going to bless you. If I keep telling the people that, even though I know that there are a lot of gaps in it, just as before I was supposed to go to seminary school, people kept telling me, your faith got to be strong to make it through seminary. You got to have strong faith to make it through seminary. And I was like, that don't make no sense. And I said it like that, double negative. That don't make no sense. That I got to have strong faith to make it through seminary. You would think that seminary will increase my faith. But as I learned that in seminary, you learn about the true histories and the true culture around the histories of what was going on. And because of that, then many people walk away from that faith. And the same thing happens in Islam. The same thing happened in Buddhism and Hinduism and every other isms and entities. The same thing happens. That there is a certain percentage of people who will go and learn that knowledge, and that knowledge changes their perception. You have to gain the knowledge. The Gnostics said you gain knowledge in order to change your existence, to get closer to the all. They said it through knowledge. The Buddhists teach it through your emotions, through love. The Krishnas, they teach it through your obedience to learning the ways of the Brahmin and coming back and getting better and better each time. Christianity is through the belief in Jesus Christ, then through the teachings. It's not just the belief in Jesus, but you have to believe in the teaching, because it says that many will call out my name and perform miracles in my name, but you will not have known me. So if you don't have relationship, and relationship involves emotion, then you ain't gonna get it either. So many people are screaming out the name of Jesus, but they're not truly in relationship, so they're not going to go to the next higher level of consciousness either. So it is, all these religions are teaching you that through knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and through the practice of love, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, through all those things, you get to a higher level of consciousness. They're all telling you, you just have to remove the veil and quit looking for the easy way out. The body is arrested, the mind is arrested when you change, because it is a traumatic thing in order for you to change your existence. You know how traumatic it is that if you and your spouse been living financially a certain way for 20 years, but all of a sudden you're tired of the struggle, you're tired of just making the ends barely meet, and you decided a new financial pathway is going to be yours. You know how arresting that is to your family to say, we're going to cut back on all these things we're used to in order for us to progress here. And it's going to take us 5, 10, 15 years to do it. Do you know, as a person who used to own UC Fitness, a personal training company and gym, how many clients had to go through the workouts where their body arrested and threw up, because I was putting them through the paces and their body wasn't used to it, just to change the way they eat, they live, they sleep. All those things had to change. How much they had to go through in order to change their body, to change their health. How many people went through pain in changing your health. You know, y'all about to hit New Year. So many of y'all gonna be like, I'm gonna start getting in shape for New Year. And you're gonna go work out. And it's going to hurt. Your body's gonna feel like it's dying. Why? Because you're changing the way your body is used to existing. So in order to first navigate this matrix, you got to change how you exist, change how you think. When you do that, you'll start to see that everything exists differently. You lose certain shackles that were holding you back. You lose the prison that you was in that kept you in that state of mind. And as you grow, you will begin to see higher levels of consciousness. You can't just jump from here to there. You got to go through the stages. That's why Jacob's ladder has 7 rungs on it. This is why in Islam that there are 7 levels of heaven, and in Dante's Inferno there were like 7 levels of hell. There are levels to everything. You don't just jump from 1 to 10. You got to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 before you get to 10. So that's the first conversation we're going to have about the matrix we're in. How do we navigate through it? We're going to bring this down and pinpoint it into certain other things as we go, different processes, how we get our minds there, because we all are going to have different pathways. And that's what we're going to talk about next time, the different pathways that we all have and how we navigate those different pathways. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.